Hello, my name is Phil Rose, and I'm listening to Chris Gordon and the ramblings of a hellblazer. Why aren't you listening?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. This is Ramblings of a Hellblazer with yours truly, Chris Gordon. Thank you all very much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. And for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, who may be tuning in just to listen to this interview, welcome. I hope you enjoy the ride. Well, today I have the pleasure of bringing to you a guest who made me laugh and I was endeared to in my childhood in the TV show that I actually still love 30 years on, and it's always been one of my favourites, with the most haunting theme tune to ever grace a TV show, I believe. However, 30 years old and it's still going, because in May this year, so May 2016, we saw the fabulous return of HTV's iconic 1980s TV show, Robin of Sherwood, with Michael Praed and Jason Connery as Robin Hood, Phil Rose and Ray Winston, and they've returned in a new audio script version. This unreleased script by the extraordinary writer of this and Catweasel, Kip Carpenter, is being brought to audio and it's returning because of its popularity over 30 years, with a full cast, and it'll be out to buy soon. So my guest today is the Manchester-born Phil Rose. He now lives in London. He's an actor in theatre, movies and TV, as well as a voiceover and location guide. Phil's appeared in varied selection of TV shows, including EastEnders, Minder and Doctors. But he's perhaps best known for his portrayal of the lovable rogue Friar Tuck in the iconic 80s HTV show Robin of Sherwood. And I caught up with him recently to discuss the release of a brand new Robin of Sherwood audio book. So without further ado, it is my absolute honour to bring to you this legend of my youth, Mr. Phil Rose.
Hello, Chris.
Hey Phil, how are you?
I'm all right, dear boy. I'm all right.
Excellent. Oh no, I really appreciate you rescheduling at short notice like that. That's very kind of you.
At all.
Yeah, so Phil, tell me about Knights of the Apocalypse. I mean, it must be hard because obviously we've sadly and tragically lost some of the original cast members in the 31 years since.
Of course, John Abernethy and the Hunter's dead.
Yeah.
And of course, Guy Gisborne, Robert Addy, 46 pancreatic cancer.
Oh, no, that's shocking.
Well, he rang me actually because he'd had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And he rang me one day and just said, I've been to see the doctor. I said, why? He said, I've not been feeling too well. And I said, you're only 46, man. What's the matter? And he said, I went to see the doctor last week and did some tests, and I come back and, like Robert Hawes did, don't, no bullshit, tell me the truth. And the doctor said, I'm sorry, you've got pancreatic cancer, you're going to be dead in 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
And 6 weeks to the day he died.
God.
And you think, no, that's not. 46, not even a life, is it?
It's not, no.
Not even a life.
No.
146, yes, or when you're 96, but then... And what is quite ironic, because he always played the iconic, stereotypical, upper, thin, stiff upper lip, oh, come on, boys, over the top, and then played Guy Gisborne, which obviously he played to great aplomb, because the one thing that people always do ask me, you might ask me later, is how the hell did in the first... Why did it take one episode for the sheriff to capture and kill Robin Hood when it took the other bloody 12 of them? They couldn't even capture him. And why did Gisborne get kippered every week? You see, that we laughed with him, not at him.
Yeah.
You know, because if your opponent's going to be beaten every week, you go, well, we know who's going to win. It's a fait accompli, isn't it? You know. Never mind.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that was.
He's up there. He's up there watching.
Oh,
of course, then when Richard Carpenter died, old Kip, you know.
Yeah.
He told me a lovely story. He said when he fought a cat weasel in those days, as you know, because he must be in the business a while, you could go into London Weekend Television or London Weekend Television as it was then, in London, and he rang them up and said, can I speak to the commissioning editor? And the woman said, yes, I've got a great idea for a new TV series. Come and see me, which you can't do now. You've got to make an appointment with the devil to get to see them. And he went in and she read the first 2 pages of Cat Weasel. And she said, I'll buy all 12. And he said, I've only written one. She said, well, you better get out there and write them. This is brilliant. You know?
Yeah.
And that is clever, you see, because at the moment my writing partner, Kerry Woods, and I've got 2 major feature films being looked at and a 24-part series for the telly.
Oh, nice.
Because I do think, well, the thing about that is it's only taken 14 years with writing to get to this position.
Right.
But the thing about it is that, you know, I think a natural progression for an actor is to go into directing, writing, producing, like Jason's gone into directing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing. And interesting enough, you know, Cat Weasel comes around, they're trying to make a new series of Cat Weasel.
Are they? Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're trying. They have to dig up poor old Jeffrey Bale, won't they?
Yeah.
As the co-man. But, no, things like that, do you know, it's amazing. I can't tell you what I had for my breakfast yesterday, but I can tell you what happened 34 years ago now when we started doing Robin. So ask me anything you like, mate. It's not, you know, it's all there. Even about my girlfriend on the set. Because one day they gave me a girlfriend in an episode, would you believe?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, very good. Yeah. I'm trying to remember that one. It's been a while.
Do you?
I've actually recorded half. It started automatically recording that. It's not going live, but I might actually use some of what you said anyway, if you don't mind.
You use anything in there. That's fine. I mean, if you want me to repeat it or anything, it's good. The thing about it is that, you know, when people say, oh, have you got any funny stories? The 2 that do come to mind immediately are when they gave me a girlfriend in Lord of the Trees, where Guy Gisborne was wandering around with a big axe chopping down trees and things. And strangely enough, at the first take when he was doing this, he had a little hammer, and the hammer head broke. So they thought, oh, go again, get another hammer, you know, replacing the hammer. So they got it again, and then when he hit the tree, the shaft broke. And we thought, oh, no, come on, this is bloody spooky. This is not. Anyway, did it a third time, and it was fine. You know, that episode was also a bit spooky because it was about trying to kill Herne the Hunter, trying to kill the Lord of the Trees and everything else. And as you know, Herne the Hunter is a spectre in Windsor Great Park, isn't he? You know, but they decided to give me a girlfriend, and every time and this is the episode where Peter Llewellyn-Williams is playing the flute with the band for about 25 hours, and it's the same tune. and at the end you're going, oh, please, shoot the band, for God's sake, I've had enough of it. The man tried to kill the trees. And the problem was, every time we went for a take with a girlfriend, she offered me a few apples, which I took. Well, of course, after 8 hours of eating apples, you think, oh my God, not another. I think I'm going to throw up here, you know what I mean? But that's the kind of things that we did. Another lovely one, which I think is quite good. When we did an episode called Rutter King about the pigs, do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Well, the lovely lady in that who played Mad Mab, is Annabelle Lee.
Okay.
Who was Richard Carpenter's wife.
Right.
And are you a great fan of Tony Hancock?
I did love him in the time. He was a very, very clever man.
Right. Do you remember when he did an episode on the telly one day, and the girlfriend's there, and having a nice quiet chat and a box of chocolates, and she goes, "Here, ain't your nose big?" And the whole episode was how he got this big nose, and Sid James is trying to tell him that it wasn't big, and he tries to get it. Well, the girlfriend was Annabelle Lee.
Oh, right, okay.
So even then, she was doing comedy. But the thing was, with Rutterkin, there was a lot of little piglets.
Yeah.
And the big problem was, not that we had to kill any of the sheriff's men, or beat Guy Gisborne again, or pinch the sheriff's nephew, but all the merry men had to pick up a piglet.
Right.
Now, have you ever seen grown men trying to pick up piglets, and piglets don't want to be picked up?
Oh,
it was pathetic. We were like a lot of Nancy girls trying to pick these, and they run, and they hide, because, I don't know if you know, if you pick a piglet up, once you've got it quite firm, it shuts up.
Oh, right.
But this was squeak. You'd have thought we were murdering them. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. And some of the more mature gentlemen who were a bit hard, oh no, oh God, bloody pig, I can't pick. You know, so funny things like that happen, and all the time what you're doing, you don't realise that you're actually doing, well, at the time we didn't realise what kind of a impact it would be.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was, I think really that Robin of Sherwood, the series, it's shot like the silver arrow through people's hearts.
Yeah.
That's a good saying, isn't it?
It is very
And
good.
what they did was they suddenly all went, oh, that's good. That's touched the heart. That's touched the strings. And, you know, from then, we even go to conventions now. And it's been 31 years since it finished, and I still go to conventions and Comic-Cons. And people who were coming 31 years ago are now bringing their children.
Yeah.
Their kids. You know, oh, Johnny's 7, he sees an episode every morning before he goes to school. That's the next audience. That's, you know, 30 years from now, they'll be wanting an old man like me to do another Friar Tuck with Coulter and the Knights of the Apocalypse, won't they?
Oh, yes.
That'll be very good. That'll be clever.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
It would.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic, and it's great the way that generations can sort of, you know, move that around and just follow on and pass them on. It's like I've got a 9-year-old son at the moment, and I try and do what I can as well, and get him watching the shows, and he falls in love with them as well. And that's the phrase, you fall in love with a show. And
that's the thing. That's the thing. As they used to, you know. I mean, think about all the people that fell in love with Fawlty Towers.
Oh,
they only did about 6 episodes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They was just repeated over and over.
Well, if you think about Robin of Sherwood 31 years ago, it was all done on tape. And the thing about it was that when they came to sell it, they went to places like Home Box Office in America, which is very hard not to crack, I believe, America.
Yeah.
And they showed them like half an episode or something, and they said, we'll buy them all. You know, that's how impressed they were with it. And of course, Clannad did the music, and that was very, very good, you know, and everything else. But what you should do is, if your little boy likes Friar Tuck, I'll send him a picture.
Oh, lovely, that'd be lovely.
Just send your address to Carol, and I'll pop it. I'll tell you why, because we get requests now and then, usually from people who come on to, you know, we've got the page and everything else with the fan club on. And a few of the Americans will come on and go, oh, is it possible to have a, you know, and you think, listen, after 31 years, if you're asking, I'm sending. You know, because that was the thing. People fell in love with it. And the first year we did 6 hours. Second year we did 7 hours. Then the third year we did 13 straight hours.
Wow.
And you suddenly thought, you know, if I'd have kept all the scripts and had them signed, you know what I mean? In fact, one of the nice things I did do, at the very, very end of the last episode, The Time of the Wolf, where Jason Connery turns into a wax person, a wax statue figure, but before we finished, I actually went to Esther Charkham, who was the casting director, stroke producer, and said, can I have the Seven Swords of Wayland? You know, the Rula Lenska episode. Right? And she said, well, one of them got nicked, and one of them is in the Robin Hood experience in Nottingham. That was Albion. So actually I had 5, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, I at the time, I bought a hotel in Blackpool.
Right.
And when we finished robbing, I had to miss the bar in Blackpool, behind a glass case, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I did was, I then, one year, you know Dan Rendell used to do the, he said to me one year, he said, is there anything you can bring, like a photograph or something like that, you know, for the fans to auction for charity?
Yeah.
And I said, I tell you what I'll do. Why don't I just bring all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the 5 swords of, well, the 7 swords of Wayland. One got nicked, as I say, and Albion was in the Robin Hood experience in Nottingham. So the other 6 were Morax, Solas, Orias, Elidor, Beleth, and Floros. And 5 of those we actually auctioned. And we're talking £200 or £300 each, and it went very well. And people have still got those and send me pictures of them. And it was like, you know, this is something permanent from the, you know, you could get a script and a photograph. But so to do the audio now, which has actually been great fun to do, and obviously because we you know, 31 years since I've seen some of the other young gentlemen that I work with. Now they're, you know, we're all in our late 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, Jason said recently in an interview, he said, well, the Merrys may be in their 50s and 60s, but they still sound young. And it's a great boy's adventure running through the forest, and we love it.
Yeah.
You know, so I can be 90 and still do that. And I tell you what I did do on the day when I was recording it, I did actually think, I thought, well, all the young and the old that will listen to this, I thought, it hasn't lost none of its, what can I say, its laughter, professionalism, its charm, its longevity, its appeal. And that's why they still bring their children. So we must be doing something right, Chris.
Definitely, totally agree. And I mean, I'm talking to you now, and I say this was just our pre-interview thing, but I'm going to keep all of it because it's just listening to you is such a joy because there's such a vibrance and exactly, it is there's such a vibrance in your voice, and you know, and the way you come across, the passion is still there, and that's so evident.
What's interesting is, you know, Stephen A. McKay, the writer. Yeah. Well, Carol rings me last year.
Right.
Or is it this year? It's been a long day. And says, "Oh, do you want to do the audio to his book, the forward audio to his book, Friar Tuck and the Christmas Devils?" And I went, "Yeah," having a laugh. And she said, "No, he has a chap who narrates his audio, and it comes out in hardback as well." She said, "But do you want to narrate the audio and write the introduction for the hardback?" And I went,
"Oh, nice.
Yeah, go on then." So we just had a little, we wrote a few things, and we sent it to him, and he sent it back and said, "Yes, we like this." And I just did it. Well, it's out there, you can buy it, you know what I mean? Strangely enough, a lot of people will remember me. Do you listen to the Scary Fires?
I don't know.
No, Scary Fires was a series which is still going, and it was a group of gentlemen in the 1930s who were writers and wanted to be horror and drama writers, and I played Bunny Cheesewright. It was a very forthright Yorkshireman who would call us spade a spade, and I just loved doing all the accents and everything else. And so to do the audio, and for people now to come on on the page and say and send a message and say, "Do you know, listening to Phil and the others took me back 30 years." So it ain't changed that much. I mean, I don't want to go back in the cupboard for the next 30 years, Chris. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
And then come out when your little boy's 39, you know what I mean? But it was just that they just captured, I think Kip had captured Richard Carpenter, known as Kip, had captured the essence of it, and it was the right time, it was the right place, it was now. You know, and you can get, if you go on the Knights of the Apocalypse Facebook, or you go on their website, or Spiteful Puppet, that eventually, with Ian Meadows, lovely man, who did it with Barnaby Eaton-Jones, lovely man, and of course young Robert Young, the director, great director, who pulled it out, and suddenly it wasn't too blasé, it wasn't too bland, it was, no, say it this way, because that's the way you said it 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and to him, good. All the technical team were wonderful, and I think they've done a great job, as well as the Marys and everybody else. Unfortunately, John Abernethy, you know, playing Herman Hunter wasn't with us, so Daniel Abernethy, his son, spookily, the same voice, very spookily.
Yes,
and of course, and of course, Freddie Fox took on the Gisborne. Looked quite young, but very well competent at what he did and things like that. So that was a good thing as well. Of course, you know, a lot of people who watch the show will go, you know, well, we're new to it. So if they can suddenly recognise the voice, they are the audience of 30 years from now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, well, you mentioned there as well, John Abernethy, and I'm very interested because I'm going to be listening to the Knights of the Apocalypse myself, because Herne the Hunter for me was one of the most mystical, and I'd say for my age at the time I was frightened. He was just that character. It was just he had such it wasn't not very frightening. It was the presence, the screen presence, and it was it's hard to explain. It was just the mysticism.
Well,
magical.
Unless you've seen it, you won't understand it. But I know exactly what you mean. I mean, for example, with Herne the Hunter, somebody said to me, "Well, Michael Praed left, and Jason Connery became Robin Hood."
Yeah.
I said, "No. Look at it this way: your bank manager of over 30 years leaves the bank to get another manager in, and what they've done." Robin had been killed, Michael Praed, and they got the new Robin of Huntingdon in, who was Jason Connery, and Herne chose him to continue. And interestingly, one of the questions that people always ask me, and I'm sure you're just about to, is how the heck can Friar Tuck put up with all these different religions of paganism, witchcraft, Wiccanism, you know, Anglo-Saxonism, Frenchism, Latin, because, you know, probably Friar Tuck was one of the very few people, apart from Marion, who could speak English, well, Anglo-Saxon English, French, Latin, you know. So when I actually said, you know, amor vincat omnia, you know, love conquers all things, and they said, oh, that's brilliant. Did you do Latin at school? I went, no. So all the Latin I had to learn, I had to really learn it. But with Herne the Hunter, what I found was that even though you had Wiccans, witches, warlocks, you know, pagans, there was Friar Tuck. He was a God-fearing man, and he took the notion that, well, as long as they believe a bit in my God, who is the true God, they can believe in their own gods, you know, and if it makes them happy, that's good. Interestingly enough, last year with Carol Ballard, my good friend, we went to the Pagan Pride event in Nottingham.
Okay.
And I was asked to speak under the Greenwood tree.
Right.
And I must tell you that Carol said, "Oh, it's only an hour." And I thought, what the heck am I going to talk about? And then suddenly it struck me: paganism, witchcraft, Christianity, not only within life but within Robin of Sherwood and things like that, because it always cropped up. You know, and as you say, Herne the Hunter wasn't a frightening person, but the persona of Herne the Hunter that he put on was a great pusher along with the story.
Yes.
You know, a great leveler. I mean, as you know, Shakespeare, when he's writing his plays, if he thought, oh, this is getting a bit turd, you don't put a comedy scene in with a fat man like Sir Toby or something like that, or Falstaff. So that's, I think what is interesting as well is that when Richard Carpenter wrote the different episodes, his talent for resonating with the earth religions, suddenly you think, you know, this could be a billboard for all new religions, because he caught the mood so well. And when I spoke last year with the pagans, I mean, they loved it. 1,000 pagans all went, that was brilliant. And, you know, I couldn't remember a thing I'd spoken about, but Carol said, oh, God, that was good. You know, so So that is nice to do as well. And as you say, such a great character, Herma Hunter. How do you replace him? Well, when you listen to it, Chris, trust me, close your eyes and you're back. Well, you're probably too young anyway, but you're back 30 years, and you say that's John Abernethy. It's got to be. It's as though John Abernethy's died and his son has been chosen by Hearn to carry on, which is once again
prophetic.
The secret. The secret of everything else, isn't it?
It is, definitely. Because I appreciate the compliment there. That'll be too young. I'm not, sadly. I was very much around. I think when Robin of Sherwood originally came out. So it was one of my favourite shows.
In your short trousers.
I would have been in my short trousers, yes. In my short trousers.
And I'll tell you what's interesting now is that with the audio of Knights of the Apocalypse, Tips charities, the Red Cross and the Sherwood Forest Trust, they will benefit. But what has amazed me, and all the other actors and actresses and technical staff and producers and directors and on this, is that the way that the fans have taken to it. Because without the fans, we are nothing.
Yeah.
And the way that they've taken to it, some of them have said, yes, I've got 10 bob, 50p. Some have said, yes, I've got £150. I'll put it in. I'll put my money where my mouth is. And they've got actually this great legacy now, which is, I tell you what it isn't. It isn't people going, well, it's been 31 years, let's take a picture and an interview with so-and-so and let's hang on to that because... No, what they've done, they've revived it. It never died, but they've given it an injection and suddenly it's come more to the fore and people gone, well, this is something now. If in 30 years I can sit down and listen to this, my kids will be listening to this.
Yeah.
But the fans have done us proud, as they always do. And, we have fans all around the world. I mean, for Robin of Sherwood, not particularly me, you know what I mean? But no, the fans did it. And I believe they asked for 10,000 and got something like just over 30,000,
Wow.
Which is crazy because at the moment, as I said, my writing partner, Kerry Woods, and I have got 2 major feature films being looked at and a 26-part series for the television. But I'd love crowdfunding like that, boss. That would be absolutely brilliant, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fantastic crowdfunding. That really shows that the support's there.
Well, it is, and it's still there. It's still in people's minds. And of course, now we go from the conventions, which were Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, Blake 7, Robin of Sherwood, as you know. I'm at the Chester Comic Con.
Yes.
Sorry, folks, this is the plug. This is the plug. I'm at the Chester Comic Con on the 27th of August, the Crown Plaza Hotel in Chester. Please do come along to see us, Chris. It would be. We'll do a live podcast.
That'll be awesome. That'll be brilliant. I'm actually going to try because I know, unfortunately, my son's got something else booked that weekend. So we found out recently. So I thought we're going to try. I'm going to try and do. We want to try and come because I would personally love to meet you as well. And Chester's literally. It's only a couple of miles. Only 20 miles away. So.
Where do you live?
Prestatyn.
Are you in Prestatyn?
I am. Yes.
North Wales. Let me tell you. I was one of the last people to do rep at Colwyn Bay.
Really?
Rep theatre in Colwyn Bay.
Wow.
Oh, yes. I've done it all, kid. I've done it all. Well, I'm a Manchester. Are you a Welshman?
I'm not. I'm actually originally from Hemel Hempstead, near London.
Oh, right. Oh, you're a Southerner,
I'm a Southerner. I've been here for longer than I've been down there, though.
Well, actually, when that train goes through Hemel Hempstead, they usually go, oh, that's where the old castle was. Now, I'm a Manchester boy. But you just reminded me of something about Hemel Hempstead.
Go on.
Did you see the Ruler Lenska episode?
Yes.
Seven Swords of Wayland. And we attack her in the forest. And she puts a spell on us, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And what does she say? I'm sure you remember. She says, Scarmes Amathia, which means sun be bright. And we all walked around for the rest of the episodes with these opaque lenses in. Well, we had to go to Hemel Hempstead to have them fitted. Now, I don't know about the other lads, but in those days I didn't wear glasses and don't mess with my eyes, my nose, my throat because I don't like it.
Yeah.
And we had to put them in, and they were literally. It was a warm summer's day, very bright, and when we put them in and they filmed, we could only film for about 10 minutes because you had to get them out because they were killers.
Right.
And it looked like you were looking at a white piece of paper right up against your eyes. And that we had to go to Hemel Hempstead. You just reminded me. And the funniest story about that was, if you watch The Seven Swords of Wayland, at the end, we're pulling Michael Praed on. You know, the old Indians used to have like a little thing behind the horse where they put the papoose and everything else on, drag it along. Well, we're dragging him along. There's 4 of us dragging this thing along the cliffs, and we're at St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall, near Lizard's End, Lizard's Point.
Yeah.
And we're walking down a path, and a foot to the left is the cliff, and a foot to the right is the ocean with about a 60-foot drop.
Oh,
and as we're walking along, they cut it out eventually because it was quite funny.
Yeah.
You can hear the director going, move more to your left, get away from the cliff edge. And we're going, we can't see the cliff edge, you can't see anything. And the funniest story about that was, at the end, Michael Praed cuts his ropes, and he actually runs away, and he jumps over, and he lands in the sea.
Yeah.
But what was so funny was they did Michael escaping, and then they did a stuntman who literally jumped. It must have been over 100 feet down into the sea. And when he was dressed up as Michael Praed, he went to the end, and he looked over the cliff, and he went, I'm only doing this once. Right? Anyway, so what we do, we're filming, action. Michael gets his rope uncut.
Yeah.
He runs, he jumps, and then we cut to the stuntman jumping. And as he jumps, all you can hear is, and he lands in the sea. Right?
Yeah.
So about 20 minutes later, he comes up and we said, we'll have a laugh here. And he said, is that all right? And the stuntmaster, Terry Watts, God bless him, he's dead now, said, I'm sorry, mate, there was a bit of a problem there. You're going to have to do it again. He said, you can do it. He said, I'm not doing that. Was dangerous. And we all laughed and said, no, mate, you're all right. So little things like that happen that are good. So no, we're at Chester, and of course now with the Comic Cons I go to, and with the conventions I go to. So even then now, everybody is aware, and having the audio out, especially in your game, the old, So you're a rambling hellblazer, are you, Chris Gordon, 1975?
I am, yes. Yes, it's just a.
Well, that's good. That's good. Prestatyn.
Yes.
I like North Wales. North Wales is nice. So if we're only in Prestatyn, come for an hour. We're there on the Saturday, and if you want to ring Carol, and I'll do a live podcast for you from the convention.
That would be awesome. That sounds awesome. That'd be good.
And I tell you what, I'll pay you so you got some money towards your car. How's that?
Yeah, thanks.
So really, we're still out there. We're still trucking. We've got other things. I know the boys have got other things. Like Jason's gone on to directing.
Yes.
And I saw his film. Quite a good film. Very nice film. Told a tale. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like Robin did. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then I said to Richard Carpenter one day, I said, just a couple of questions. I said, why did you give me that line, little flower? And he went, he said, that's a good line for you, because that was the very first thing I ever said to Maid Marian, the Baron de Bellem's here, little flower. And it grew on me, so now, actually, when I sign things and I put little flower, or I'll ring a fan if it's their birthday or something and say, hello, you don't know me, I'm Phil Rose, my little flower. They go, oh, yes it is, yes it is. They've connected that with that, haven't they?
Yeah.
So little things like that we do and everything else. And I think the thing is, at the end of the day, the fans are still there, thank goodness. The characters are still with us. Let's do it. Let's do another one. Why not?
Yep. Why not? Was it strange as well? I mean, sort of coming together with those original members of the cast. I mean, 31 years. From what we've been talking about as well, it sounds like you were all pretty close throughout those years anyway, and kept in touch. So how was that?
Well, yes, we did. Amazingly, you like little stories, yes?
Certainly do.
Right. The very first day that we ever met and read the first script was All the Merries, Michael Praed, Judy Trott, but I tell you who wasn't there, was Mark Ryan, because Mark Ryan as Nazir was going to be killed off after the double episode at the beginning. Okay, so years later, I'm at a convention in Chicago, and I take a black and white photograph, 10x8, of Michael Praed and Judy sat on a Harley Davidson, and me and Clive and Peter and Ray just stood around him. Yes. Because, of course, Mark was going to get killed off. And I sold it for, I think, $500-600. But the lovely story is that the day we all went up to Alnwick Castle in Northumberland, because that's where we were filming for 3 days, and we actually had to keep the extras on for another 3 days because it poured down for the first 3 days, as it does up north. We're on the train and we're having breakfast, and this steward come around and said, breakfast. We said, oh, yeah, we'll have some breakfast. Let's have some champagne. Are you a rock band? And we went, no. And he said, well, you don't look like football players. He said, what are you doing? So we're doing a new series called Robin of Sherwood. And he went, oh, yeah, I've heard it all before. And you think, it probably thinks now, I met them, I could have had their autograph. That's like having, the Beatles autograph from the first day, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I must have done that. So we've stayed in touch and everything else, and I'll see they go off and do their own things, and I've been doing my own thing. A lot more theatre for me, television, and obviously now with the writing, which is good. But just, let's keep our hand in. But to come back after 31 years and just fit like a glove back together, all right, some of us have got thinner and fatter, some of us have got bald and I've grown a beard, Judy Trott still as lovely as ever, and some of them you think, they might have aged, but as soon as they speak, their voice says it all. Yes. And that's the thing which I think is a credit to Barnaby and Ian for bringing us all together, but also it's the payoff, it's the reward to the fans to go, it's just like 31 years ago. Yeah. And they could tell the kids, because they've grown up with us, and they've stayed loyal, haven't they? That's the thing.
Indeed they have. I mean, actually turning around now in my room, and I can see on my shelf I have the Robin of Sherwood DVD box set. Still there.
Oh, do you?
Oh, I do.
You mad fool. But no, that's the thing. And, they did 6 1 hours the first year, 7 1 hours the second year, and 13 1 hours the third year. And then we were so close to a fourth year. So close. Yeah. And then they said, I'm sorry, financial and committee. Because at the end, there was about 8 people in front of the camera and about 38 people behind the camera.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh,
a lot of production.
And some of the lovely well, because of the production, I mean, one of the lovely stories I can tell you is that we were filming one day in a place called Mel's Park. Okay. And Michael Praed and Guy Gisborne, Robert Addy, had to do a fight in the mud. And there was only a little bit of mud, okay? And there was a couple of hours and they were fine and everything else. Anyway, that night, with the rest of what they filmed that day, go to what they call the rushes, where they develop it. Yeah. So you can see it the next night. And I think it went somewhere like to Swinton or somewhere like that. And halfway through going through the machine ate it. Yeah. Ate the scene. And the next day they came in and they said, oh, we can't show you that scene from last night, yesterday, they said, because the machine's ate it. And Robert and Michael went, oh yeah, come on, stop pulling me. They said, no, I'm sorry, it has eaten it. We'll go back in a couple of weeks and film it again. Well, what they hadn't bargained for was that summer was particularly hot, and that little lake in Mel's Park, it dried up. All right. And now we've got now we could have been on the Somme in 1916. The mud, Chris, got everywhere, and not only now, so that Michael and Guy Gisborne cannot move when they walk. Their shoe is left, their boot is left in the mud. Their sword is stuck in the mud. They're covered in it, and it must have took 2 or 3 hours to redo. And as Michael is passing us, he says, if the machine eats it, this time there's going to be trouble. So once again, that camaraderie, that I can get on with it and do it again.
Yeah.
In fact, Mel's Park was where HTV that did Robin of Sherwood actually was going to film Master of Ballantrae, and that was where the Indian village was going to be actually in North America. So they had all the teepees out and the little boats and everything.
Oh,
but that lake sort of dried up that day that we went back.
Yeah.
And trust me, it was. You could have filmed on the Somme. It was mud. It was mud like you've never seen before.
Wow.
So funny stories like that are quite enjoyable and everything else.
Yeah, sounds it. It's you can just picture the scene. The slooping sound as the mud sucks a boot up.
Exactly. I tell you what's interesting as well, and I've listened to the Nazi Apocalypse audio, is that strange how from a visual media of television series to an audio description, how you sort of, yes, I can see that, I can hear the horses, I can see the swords, when they have a sword fight, you think, how can you have a sword fight on the radio? But they do, and it works.
Yes.
It's quite ironic, and because it's not that you're willing it to work, you're just hoping it does, not for us, but for the fans, because if it works, the fans know we've done the best we can, and we know we've done the best we can. And as I say, they are the most important people, and, give the fans what they want. That's what they wanted. But we're not clutching at straws after 31 years with something that's half-baked. We are holding in our hands a complete package that is the most professional deal I think could be done. And I think that's, like for your game, audio, if you can do that constantly, you're on a winner. And we may never do another one. We may never do any TV series. But, I can go to my maker saying, hello, I'm Friar Tuck. Did you listen to the audio god? Did you see the television? Can I come in?
Yes.
And he'll go, oh, yes. And, of course, the question, your pub quiz question, dealing with Robin of Sherwood, where is King John buried?
Ooh, yeah, good question.
Yeah,
you've got me stumped there.
Pub quiz question.
Go on.
King John is buried in Worcester Cathedral.
Right.
Because after he lost his money in the wash, purportedly, he caught chronic dysentery. And they took him to Worcester, and that's where he eventually died. But the reason I mentioned that was, when I get into heaven, I won't have to wear my habit. But he is buried between two of the monks who've all got habits on in Worcester Cathedral.
Right.
And you know what the thinking there was?
Go on.
Because there'd been such a bad king.
Yes.
This is John, King John. Because there'd been such a bad king. When I go into heaven, when the final trumpet sounds and we're going to heaven, dressed as a monk with the other two monks, God won't see me. Oh yes, he will.
Oh yes.
He'll know everything about that recording, and he'll go, excuse me, what? You think I'd let Herne the Hunter get away with that? You are joking. So it's there, and even in your media of audio,
yes,
if it's good, and there's only one of them, you cherish it and give it to your kids, and then when the next Robin comes along, it might not be the same characters, it might not be the same people, it might not be the same stories, but it's retelling the tale once again. It's a tale for our time now.
It is indeed. And I'm interesting you bring that one up as well, because I'm actually got my first proper, because I'm trying to move into acting as well, and after at my age, I've always wanted to do. Oh yes, you're playing the jailer, aren't you? I'm the jailer in a new version of Robin Hood, which obviously, things like your Robin of Sherwood is all inspired.
Right. Well, Mr. Chris, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, go on.
And I'm going to smack your hand.
Oh no, why?
Oh yes. Because when you mentioned your bits and pieces that you're doing, like the jailer, lovely. Is it your first acting piece?
It is.
Right. Well, when I was at drama school in Birmingham many years ago,
yes.
you know, some old actor gave me some advice I'm going to give to you now.
Okay.
And that this advice is, don't come on drunk, don't fall over the furniture, and keep moving. And I said, all right, don't come on drunk, yeah, don't fall over the furniture, yeah, and keep moving. I said, why do I keep moving? He said, because when they throw the tomatoes, they hurt. And I said, hang on, tomatoes don't hurt. He said, they do when they're still in the tin. Now, my question to you is, why is a man of your intelligence and experience spelling jailer wrong?
I know. I know.
You see,
I know exactly where I knew exactly where you were coming
from. Because as all our lovely listeners know, JAIL is the American version.
It is GAOL.
GAOL, and that's the first time I thought, I can't imagine Chris is doing his own publicity, letting anything like that go out, you know. Simple things like that, they don't bug me, but you just think, you know, somebody's not done the research or something like that, because when you're trying to do things like that, and I know there's a lot of things going on at the time, so how did you get your part of the jailer? Did you say they were a podcast and they loved it? And
I did. I actually, I got involved. I sort of met online the Anthony Pierce, who's the creator, who's written the piece and created it, and then obviously some of the cast who were there, and I brought them on because one thing I love to do is, you know, support independent as well, because I fully believe in, you know, I do my podcast, I enjoy doing what I'm doing, it's a hobby, but I love independent film and TV. I think that's something that should be published a lot more. And what I did with those guys, I just brought them onto the podcast and the crew members there.
Well, that's good, because in its way, that's what HTV was doing, was being independent.
Yes, definitely.
And obviously, as you realise now, because you will be the lovely jailer, spell it right, what happens now is, since Robin finished, the stunt arranger, Terry Walls, God bless him, he's dead now, lovely man.
Yeah.
He said, when he was on the set of Robin Prince of Thieves, the director kept looking at Anne Hathaway's cottage and going, well, Robin could come out, and he went, no, hang on, Anne Hathaway's cottage, Robin 1200, Anne Hathaway 400 or 500 years too late.
Yeah.
You know, it's too late. And then, of course, Azim or Azir or Nazir, you know, they copied the Nazir, didn't they?
They did.
You know, Nazir. And you suddenly think, well, I know that if they copy you, that's flattery.
Yes.
But, you know, from all the scripts that were ever written about Robin of Sherwood, and I remember seeing an interview with Richard Carpenter, the writer of Robin, one day, and he said, most of the accounts of Robin, because there was supposed to be a Robin in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Southern, you know, all around.
Yes.
He said most of the accounts are a bit of doggerel, and when you piece them all together, it's lies, or made up. That sounds true. Bit more, and you think they've spun a web, haven't they? You know, around this character. But thank goodness me, they did, because 31 years after we finish it, you know, we're doing something fresh. And if, as you know, because you're in it, if audio is not the freshest medium around, tell me what is.
Exactly.
You know? Because now you can send a disc around the world on your phone, can't you?
You can. I mean,
so the whole world will benefit from it. I do wish you well as the jailer. So don't fall over the furniture, don't come on drunk, and keep moving.
Thank you.
And take the money if you're offering it. You've got a nice car to support.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. But no, I mean, you know, that's what I say. That's the sort of inspiration, because it's Robin Hood New Beginnings, so it's all about a female Robin Hood and lovely twists on the whole tale. So, but it's all inspired.
And to be honest with you, why not a female? Why not? You know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly.
That's the whole thing about this. That they go, well, it's not the no, it doesn't have to be the definitive version. It's Richard Carpenter's interpretation, which is extremely good and hit the nail right on the head. And when you do yours, it's their interpretation. We both look at a wall and we see different things.
Exactly.
You know, because if we all saw the same thing, what a boring world it would be, Chris.
It would be.
You know what I mean?
I do use that actually in my managerial. Yeah, I'm an IT manager by trade, and one of the things I use. That's what I am at the moment. I'm still working on the other. But one of the things I do.
No. But slowly catch your monkey.
Exactly. One of the things I do is very similar to what you said. I get a beach ball. You know, the big beach ball with the multicolours. And I'll hold it up in front of my face so people behind me, in front of me, can't see me. And I'll ask them what colours they see. And they'll say, like, red, orange and white. And I'll say, I see blue, green and purple. And it's like, who's right? And they go, they think it's like, both of us are right, but we just have to change things. And look, you just understand, looking at it from a different perspective, to understand that everyone can have that sort of
You can go
difference.
outside. You can go outside tonight when it gets dark in press satin and look at the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be in Perth, Australia, and look at the moon, and we're both looking at the same moon from a different angle.
Exactly.
You know, that's the whole thing. And also then, it goes nicely back to Robin of Sherwood, which wasn't too ethereal and up in the sky. It was down to earth. It was Lord of the Trees. It was paganism. It was Wiccan. It was witchcraft. It was Anglo-Saxon versus Frenchman, Normandy. And what you do get is you get a sense of, well, actually, somebody's got to be right here, but it's a nice blend of everything, you know, that they do, which is good.
Exactly. It is. Absolutely, totally agree with you on that. Sorry, I lost my words for a second.
Sorry, I bet your little boy's going, who are you talking to, Daddy? Who's that funny man? Oh, this is Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
This is Friar Tuck. He'll send you a picture. Let's do that. So get...
I'll speak to Carol.
Address to go. Or come and do a
to
podcast
Chester.
from the Comic-Con. I'm sure they would love that.
I'm sure they would. They already
You've
tried.
got the dates and the times and everything else.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And, you know, I think also what's nice is that people like your good self, because you take an interest, and this could go anywhere in the world, and people hear it and go, actually, that's very interesting. I want to get into audio, or I might want to get into writing, or I might want to get into acting and whatever, directing, but it's a great medium. But if you can portray in an audio, you can't portray everything you see in a visual.
Yes.
But if you can get there and you go, well, actually, if you close your eyes, I can see them running through the forest, and they might all be in their 50s and 60s, but they're very young at heart in this great boys' adventure called Robin of Sherwood, Knights of the Apocalypse. You know,
Indeed.
Great.
Indeed. I mean, I know this show does go out as well, because I've got listeners in China, America, Russia, Brazil.
Oh, right.
So it is worldwide.
Well, the thing is, you know, that's the thing. So if anybody rings you and says, can you come and do a podcast for us or want a convention, we've got a few people out there in different countries going, oh, you must come and do a convention. I said, well, you know, you organise it. Carol Ballard and I will come to it because we love the fans and the fans love them, and we have them worldwide. Not just me and myself, but, you know, for the Robin and everything else, which once again is universal.
Exactly. It actually brings me on. I had a question sent in from a Tina or Tena Belovich, and she was asking when you're actually coming to America, because your fans over there would love to see you.
Well, you can tell Tina I would love to come to America. I don't know at the moment, but you never know. In fact, the last time I was in America, it was, wait for this, I think it was 1990, it was late 80s, early 90s, and I went to a Red Dwarf, Blake 7, Doctor Who, Robin of Sherwood convention.
Awesome.
Now, in Chicago, and it was Thanksgiving, you know, that period of Thanksgiving, and about 4,000 people turned up, and they were all dressed as this and that. Of course, my very good friend from Blake 7, Paul Darrow, I always say all hail Lord Darrow, because he's such a nice guy, was there. What a gentleman, you know. People from Red Dwarf were there, nice. Mark came from Robin of Sherwood, nice man, you know. And there were just a lot of fans there that were so like, oh, you know. And it's just like it's just like going to a convention in America or here or in Germany or wherever in England. You know, they all might ask the same questions and you might give the same answers. But once again, it sparks, like we've talked tonight, you know,
Yeah.
about different things, and it sparks off other little things, and they go, so we're not one-trick ponies, as you know. But
Exactly.
what we can do, we can talk about something, and somebody go, I remember 31 years ago this happened, and they go, I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my fans would go, I've heard it all before, but it's always lovely to hear it again. You know what I mean?
I do.
But that is the thing. That is the thing as well. That, it can go out to. It's a good product. Let's get it out there and see what happens.
Indeed it does. That will actually bring us, sadly, Phil, to the end.
Sadly.
Very sadly, because I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you.
No problem at all. You have my number. Anytime you want to chat, I'm here.
Brilliant. Is there anything you've got for your fans that you'd like to say? One last thing to anyone who's listening.
Yes, well, to all the fans out there, foreign and domestic, I would say hello. It's lovely to speak to you. You know that we're here for you. I hope you all enjoy the audio. I hope you still enjoy looking at the DVDs and the old tapes of Robin of Sherwood. And the one thing I would say is thank you to the fans, all of you, because you're the most important thing. We are nothing without you. And at the end of the day, to me, you are all my little flowers.
Well, thank you once again, Phil, for that. That was absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate your time to talk to me. And I'm really, really, really happy to see Robin of Sherwood back after 30 years. I will be listening out for that audio play. So, that brings us to the end of the interview. I must also thank Miss Carol Ballard as well for putting me in touch with Phil and for providing me with the question sets for tonight as well, which was absolutely really grateful. And also to anybody else who sent their questions in, I hope you got the answers that you were looking for, and I hope you all enjoyed listening. Thank you very much. This has been Ramblings of a Hellblazer with Chris Gordon.